tomb of Tutankhamun, a team of American archaeologists uncover a new secret in the valley, a tomb which has remained undisturbed for thousands of years.
Only today, a cachette of mummies has been found in front of the tomb of Tutankhamun.
The tomb, discovered by chance, is renamed KV63, based on the naming convention for discoveries in that area, which assigns the initials KV, King's Valley, followed by a progressive number. Otto Schaden, who heads the team of archaeologists, opens a new chapter in the history of the valley.
Well, the discovery of the new tomb was the result of a long series of actions and excavations connected with the tomb of Amenmesse, Tomb 10, which is right nearby.
The entrance to the tomb opens out onto a 5.5-meter deep vertical shaft. At the bottom of the shaft there lies a room which is miraculously intact. Inside it there are 28 jars, and piled in a corner 7 coffins covered in black resin. The coffins have no seals, no collars, or any other identifying marks. Which dynasty do they belong to? Who were they for? Are the KV63 and the KV62, the tomb of Tutankhamun, connected in any way?
Since its discovery, there have been many theories about what KV63 could possibly be. Was it a royal mummy cache? Would the archaeologists find the bodies of some of the missing New Kingdom pharaohs at the bottom?
So which pharaohs were buried in the Valley of the Kings? And why was that valley specifically chosen as their burial place?
The Valley of the Kings is a place of mystery and magic.
It was the pharaohs of the 18th dynasty in around 1500 BC who elected this remote wadi on the west bank of the Nile, just a few kilometers from ancient Thebes, as their eternal resting place. A custom which lasted throughout the New Kingdom up until around 1100 BC and the 20th dynasty. Pharaohs considered their tomb to be almost more important than the royal palace. Fitting burial in a suitable location was the only way in which the kings could be guaranteed a safe journey into the afterlife and a happy life after their death. A number of specific factors led to the choice of this particular site. The valley is dominated by a hill, El Qurn, which is shaped like a pyramid. To the ancient Egyptians, a pyramid symbolized the sun's rays. Additionally, the valley had only one access point and could therefore be easily guarded and defended from tomb robbers. Ancient Egyptians did not believe death existed. The valley is a eulogy to light, to the sun that plunges into the underworld and is reborn triumphant. The walls of these tombs, containing several chambers, had inscriptions and paintings showing the scenes and texts that would accompany the dead kings into the afterlife and guaranteed them eternal life. The tombs were filled with objects used in everyday life, such as beds, chests, chairs and clothes, as well as objects destined for use in the afterlife, such as funerary figurines called ushabtis, ritual statues, charms and fetishes. Inside the coffin, there was a papyrus scroll which contained a series of prayers and spells that were supposed to guide and protect the soul during its journey through the underworld, the so-called Book of the Dead. These texts enabled the soul to frighten off any demons who might try to place obstacles along the way.
I am yesterday, and I know tomorrow. I am able to be born again. I am the divine, hidden soul.
Most scholars believe that the first king to have a tomb in the Valley of the Kings was Thutmose I, the third king of the 18th dynasty. His chief architect, Inanni, boasted that he had built a hidden tomb for his king without anyone noticing. It could be KV-20. Over the years, the royal tombs become larger and more complex. The sequence of tombs in the Valley of the Kings was interrupted during the late 18th dynasty by the heretical pharaoh Akhenaten, who had his tomb built close to the city he had founded, Amarna. Tutankhamun returned to Thebes and had his tomb built in the Valley of the Kings. When he died, he was about 19 years old, and his tomb had not yet been completed. His successor, Ai, quickly had him buried in another smaller tomb. KV-57, Tomb of Horemheb, the last king of the 18th dynasty, is one of the most beautiful tombs in the valley. For the first time, scenes and texts were first engraved and then painted over. Many of these works were never finished, and today we can see the procedures used by the artisans who carried out their tasks. The kings of the 19th and 20th dynasties, from 1300 to around 1100 BC, were buried in magnificent tombs. As the new kingdom fell into decline, the kings became weaker and poorer, and lootings in the Valley of the Kings increased. In the end, it was abandoned. The Valley of the Kings remained abandoned over the centuries, until the first explorers started once again to unveil its secrets. The tomb of Tutankhamun was the only tomb to be discovered in the Valley of the Kings for over 80 years.
Since the tomb was found until today, King Tut is like hiding everything in the valley. And this is why no one ever tried to actually look at anything. And no one really had a theory. No archaeologist had a theory to think there is something.
The valley, however, has still many secrets to share with us. In 2006, a team of archaeologists from the University of Memphis made an exceptional discovery: an intact tomb only 14 meters away from Tutankhamun.
I went to the Valley of the Kings in December, and I went down and I saw that he reached about 3 meters under the ground. Later he called me to say that he found the entrance. That day I will never forget.
The opening of the entrance is an emotional event.
When I looked, I couldn't see anything. The holes were even too small to let the light from the flashlight come into the tomb. Our photographer, Heather, looked. She thought she saw an outline of a coffin. And then a young man from Northern Ireland with us for the first time could get enough light where he could see these white, big storage jars. And so he started yelling, "I see pots, I see pots."
At the foot of a 5.5-meter deep shaft, there lies a chamber which no human being has set eyes on for over 3,000 years. The entrance door has no seal whatsoever.
The coffins are pushed into one corner, and one is on top of the others.
Which dynasty does this tomb belong to, and who are these coffins for? Will the archaeologists find the mummy of a pharaoh inside? Before we can access the coffins, we need to remove the jars and see what's inside. The jars could provide us with precious clues and help us date the tomb. Inside the jars, the archaeologists find large quantities of natron, a salt used by the ancient Egyptians in the mummification process, and which is very good at absorbing water. As well as natron, there are animal bones, pieces of wood, bits of clay, bandages soaked in resin, mud seals, and fragments of pottery. It is one of these fragments which gives hope to the team.
wine jar fragments, which was found in jar number 3, a big storage jar. And it's got a year 5, it gives no name to the king, at year 5, and it's wine of Charu. It's interesting because there's also wine from Charu found in Tutankhamun's tomb, and it's also from year 5.
Is KV-63 therefore connected in some way to KV-62, the tomb of Tutankhamun? In order to confirm this theory, we need more evidence, some clue, maybe an inscription with the name of a pharaoh. Once the jars have been removed, the archaeologists can at last move on to examining the coffins.
They found that the coffins were completely deteriorated. The wood was in a very bad condition. Then I brought an Egyptian team under Nadia Lokma, and they began to do a good work in the consolidation of the wood.
Nadia Lokma, conservator for the Cairo Museum, is faced with a nearly impossible task.
In that time, we saw that there are 7 coffins in a horrible situation. Oh my goodness, it was horrible. The termite eat most of the wood, because you see, the termite eat what's inside and we just leave the outer surface.
The wood consolidation process requires days of work.
And inside the coffin there was pieces of pottery and stone and fabric and many things, and most of the things are inorganic. The climate inside the tomb, it was extremely dry. It was 17%, and this is very low. So the wood tried to shrink because it's absorbed the water and give the water, so it tried to shrink. Wood, he can't shrink because what inside it, it was stable in the size. So it's broken. وحاطين عليه كمية بلاك ريزن شانية عشان يغطوا. In a closed space like that and deep, it was horrible. The situation, it wasn't, I mean, for work, it wasn't easy. I mean, we are deep and we use too much material because we have to use a lot of consolidation material and very dilute.
Hawass and Sharton try to date the coffins.
Dynasty 18. Because this is typical Dynasty 18.
Leaning on top of the others, there is a smaller coffin, half open, in good condition. What will we find inside? We need to move it in order to open it. It's a very delicate operation. The coffin is precariously balanced, and the slightest misjudgment could make it fall.
Chad, do you want to move the cover?
Sharton moves the cover. The team holds its breath. Inside the coffin, there are 6 pillows pressed down to the bottom. Underneath the pillows, we find an unexpected surprise. A small golden coffin.
We never expected a little gold coffin under the pillows. It was exciting to have something complete where you didn't expect anything.
But there are no inscriptions, neither on the coffinette nor on the coffin that contains it. Who had they been prepared for then?
In my opinion, this coffinette could be for the burial of an infant.
The main thing that makes me think is 18th Dynasty is where it was found and the things found with it. And this is by far the best preserved of all the coffins we have. It even sounds like wood when you knock on it. We wouldn't dare do that with the others. They would just crumble. This one certainly looks like it should be a female.
After finding the precious golden coffinette, it's time to open the last coffin. What will it contain? Will there be a mummy inside? Will it at long last unveil the secrets of KV-63? Journalists are standing ready to capture this event. But there is no mummy inside the coffin. The coffin is full of garlands of flowers.
Look how the different plants, not the same kind of plant.